This is Sherzodbek again from CAU Business School. So today we'll talk about the last week's economic indicators as well as this week's expectations. Let's quickly review the economic data released for the last week ending November 29th, 2024. Consumer confidence reported at 111.7, slightly below the forecast of 111.8, but still higher than the previous value of 109.6. This indicates improving consumer sentiment compared to the last month. New home sales were 610,000, significantly below the forecast of 725k and the previous figure of 738, signaling a slowdown in the housing market. Durable goods order month-over-month reported at 0.2% increase, outperforming the forecast of 0.8% decline and the previous minus 0.4%. This shows resilience in manufacturing demand. GDP quarter-over-quarter growth for third quarter stood at 2.8%, aligning with the forecast but slightly lower than the prior quarter's 3%. Economic growth remained steady. Initial jobless claims recorded at 213,000, lower than the forecast and previous value of 215, reflecting a robust labor market. Core PCE price index month-over-month increased by 0.3%, matching expectations and suggesting steady inflationary pressures. Core PCE price index year-over-year in October stood at 2.8%, slightly above the prior reading of 2.7%, staying within the manageable limits for monetary policy. Crude oil inventories reported a decline of negative 1.84 million barrels, larger than expected draw of 1.3 million, indicating tightening supply in the energy markets. Chicago PMI for November fell sharply to 40.2, below the forecast of 44.9 and the previous number of 41.6. This signals contraction in manufacturing activity. Chinese manufacturing PMI for November improved marginally to 50.3, surpassing the forecast of 50.2, but slightly below the prior value of 50.5, indicating the marginal expansion. The US economy displayed resilience in areas like durable goods orders and GDP growth, while inflation metrics stayed under control, and labor markets, specifically initial jobless claims, remained low, reinforcing the strength of the labor market. Weakness in housing and manufacturing. The housing market activity and manufacturing exhibited notable declines, potentially areas of concern for growth. Crude oil inventories, on the other hand, showed larger than expected drawdowns, suggesting supply-side constraints. Now let's talk about what we're expected to see in this week ending 6th of December 2024. International trade in goods and services scheduled for December 5th will provide insight into the US trade balance, key understanding of export-import dynamics. Wholesale inventories for October 2024 scheduled for December 9th. This indicator of stock levels in the wholesale sector, which can influence GDP calculations. Manufacturers' goods data scheduled for December 4th will include updates on manufacturing orders, a leading indicator for industrial activity and economic sentiment. Talking about broader US and global developments, specifically Federal Reserve policy outlook. Markets are focusing on Fed commentary regarding inflation and employment trends, particularly after the recent slight decline in US unemployment figures and modest GDP growth rates. Talking about the ongoing geopolitical crisis, the Israel-Hamas conflict remains unresolved, with its broader impact on energy markets and the global political stability. The ongoing Ukraine war continues to influence European economies and supply chains. Talking about the COP29 summit in the United Arab Emirates, this week's UN Climate Summit focuses on global decarbonization and green technology financing. Key announcements on energy policies are expected as well. OPEC Plus meeting is scheduled for December 4th. Oil production targets for 2024 will be discussed, critical for global energy markets. Fluctuations in crude oil price could significantly impact inflation trends. By the end of December, close to New Year, hopefully, we'll give you more detailed discussions and summary points about 2024 macro events, and the Bloomberg team from CAU Business School will give you the macro analysis and macro forecasts for 2025. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.